Hey guys. It's a couple minutes early. I know there's a few people that were waiting, so you're just gonna have to give me a second. Usually I try to get in even earlier than this so that I can get everything set up, but you know, today the day started getting away from me a little bit today. So I'm just getting logged in here. My iPad's not loading. Giving it a second. I think it was probably syncing up to the Wi-Fi. So hello. I'm here. I'm not moving because there's nothing moving. I guess I could start bringing my rocks up here. I'm waiting. I don't know what's going on here on my iPad. Yay, Brenda, I'm glad. Hey, Tammy. These are our last ones. I don't want to get too much into it. Why is this not coming up? Hold on. Settings. My Wi-Fi is showing connected. Okay. Why is YouTube not opening? Okay. There we go. All right. Trying to get this up. I still have 2 minutes, so I can brace myself. It looks a little grainy on my screen here to the side. Okay. Well, so how's the picture look for you guys? Is it looking okay? It looked a little grainy. I don't know if it was because it was just opening up. So we've got our 20 extra rocks today. And then I do have one that I pulled out of my bin to do the 101 rock. And I'm debating, I'll wait till people are here so I can get a little bit of a vote on something with that. So I got down to the very bottom of my white slices. So some of these guys are getting kind of small. Kind of have them in sets of 5 here. Remember what I was doing on these. All right. I don't know about that one. Okay. Welcome in, everybody. If you're joining in live, welcome. We got 1 minute until 2:30. I did leave my water. I did this last week. I don't like to start painting till 2:30, so we're going to give it another minute. Okay. Are we officially there? 2:30. Yes, it's 2:30. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Your bucket has all different sizes in it. Yeah. Well, these are the bottom. So these are the bottom of the bags. I had my 2 bags of 50, and these are them. I didn't have any spares, so I'm using the ones that I got, and this is gonna work out well. We're gonna end up with our 100 out of the 2 bags, and then I have my 101 rock. So this is just an extra rock I had left over. I feel like these were the ones I used for the sugar skulls last year. I was thinking about doing one that said Happy Halloween, kind of large to put kind of in the center of the table. I am going to ask you guys that are here live. I was debating doing this, and you guys can let me know if it's something you're interested in, because I know quite a few of you have been joining in every week, and I've really enjoyed having kind of the company while I'm painting. So next Tuesday, obviously I'll be done with the 100 rocks after today. I was going to maybe hop on and seal some live. And I thought if I'm going to seal them live, maybe I save the 101st rock. We could do that, like seal, work on that final rock, because the sealing process, since I'm doing 100 rocks, by the time you get all the way down to the bottom of your dabbing, you can usually start doing the second coat, but I still have to hashtag them and all that. So if you'd be interested in coming back next week for one final rock and a sealing video, say yes or give a thumbs up. And this goes for people watching the replay because I have all the way till next week to make a decision on that. Well, not really, because I could paint it today. So you just let me know. All right. So anyways, I do have the comments over here onto the side like normal. We have 4 rocks designs we're going to be doing today. One will be a newish design. So on the gray rocks today, we are going to do our zombies. We're going to do those on the smaller set here. Zombies we've done before. And then on the bigger ones, we're going to do eyeballs. And I did share a picture, I think on YouTube. I was playing around with some designs and there were a couple over here. Good afternoon, Debbie. So we're going to do like an eyeball stack and we're going to do a little bit of shading. So it'll be a little technique there for us to kind of get that little bit of shading in there. Obviously they'll be colored in. You know how my doodles are not 100% where they're at. They're just kind of so I can get my idea on a piece of paper. The other 2 hearts that were here, we are not doing these today, but since you're here live, you could see these kind of sneak peek type things. So I've done both of these styles of hearts before for, I think I did this one in purple, green, and orange for Halloween before. I think the candy corn colors are kind of fun. And then we've done these kind of pattern style hearts, but I like the candy corn color combination for fall. It's not just Halloween. So I decided to save these 2, even though I really like them. I'm saving them so that I can do them once I'm trying to get through all these Halloween rocks first. So I thought eyeballs, definitely Halloween. My daughter saw the doodle and was like, oh, I love them. She's, you know, somebody around, you know, she's on the older end of trick-or-treaters, but, you know, she is the target. So eyeballs on the big ones back here. So if you have a bigger stone, they don't have to be quite this big, but you want to be able to fit a couple on there. So if you have some bigger ones, pull them to the side for this one. The other stones I'm using are these smaller ones. So they'll be smaller-ish designs. On the white rocks, we are going to do bats, the cute bats. I haven't done those in years. I think I doodled one over here just so you guys can be familiar. We've had them on the page. You guys, I don't know if my kid just said something. My Google speaker just started talking. I don't know if you guys heard that. So anyways, bats. There's the zombies here. Those are going to be the ones that we're going to do over here. And then also on the whites, so the bats are going to be these ones. So I have ones that are a little bit wider style. So those are the ones I'm going to be using for the bats. And then down here, I'm going to do like a boo dangle. I've done dangles before for Happy Halloween. But oh my gosh, that speaker is like talking over there. I think my son's doing something upstairs, maybe. Can you hear that speaker going? That's crazy. Hi, Janet. All right, so boo dangles. So this one's all big. So just something either horizontal or vertical. We're going to play around maybe with some eyeballs in the dangles, some candy corns in the dangles. Tammy, you can't hear anything? Can anybody else hear? Or is the sound not working? I love that you guys are all here. You can hear. Okay. You're doing a sugar skull while you waited. Oh, nice. Those are so fun. Oh, you can't. Oh, okay. The Google. Okay. Never mind. All right. Perfect. It was just like talking and I couldn't think over it. It was talking very loud. Okay. Anyway, so boo dangles. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get at it. The first thing I'm actually going to start with is putting the eyeballs on here. So I've got 5 rocks. I think almost everybody that's in here, at least that is chatting, has been here before. So we're doing 5 of each of the 4 designs. So I've got the same supplies that I have had. If there's anybody new here that has any questions about supplies, please feel free to drop it in the comments, but I am not going to repeat myself and show off the bags to everybody that's been here this whole time. This would be our 5th video, right? 1 through 20, 21 to 40, 41, 60. Yeah, this is our 5th week. So I've been using the same supplies the whole time. just to keep it simple. All right, have fun painting, Brenda. Thanks for popping in and saying hi first. So we are just going to put our circles on here. And like I did on my Post-it note, since these are Halloween, don't worry about it being a perfect circle, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Monster eyeballs could be weird shaped, okay? And we're going to stack. I'm going to do 3 probably on each rock, but you can stack them like this rock is a little bit more horizontal. They can be different sizes. They don't have to be all the same size either. But we do want them stacked because we can do that fun shadow on them. So like this one, I'm going to do them like in a trio here in the middle, more like that Post-it note. So if it's easier to trace them all on here first, you do want to use up a good portion of your rock. This rock has a couple little bumps and holes. We'll have to make sure we get the paint down in those. My speaker is playing cricket noises. It was talking about bedtime routines. I think my son was trying to set up like something to help him go to sleep at night. And I can hear cricket, like nighttime cricket noises coming from my kitchen speaker right now. So you hear me giggling. That's what it's about. I can't play music because it could be copyright, but I don't think crickets is going to be picking up. All right, so we're not going to be super worried. We're going to do 2 coats on these because we want them to be nice and white. So just get that first one on there. You could do 1 pair of eyes if you want to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this cricket noise in the background. It's funny, you would think I wouldn't want it to be dead silent, but it's such an odd noise in the middle of the day because I shouldn't be hearing that noise. If it was night, it probably wouldn't even be bothering me at all. Okay. 1, 2. Usually I don't start on the new one. Usually I try to wait a little bit further in, but this is going to be a lot of layering on this one to get a full eyeball because we're going to do our white, which will take 2 coats most likely. We'll just do a second coat along the outer edge because we're going to add the color ring. So you don't need to recolor the entire thing. We'll just kind of go along the outer edges of our eyeballs with our white, and then we'll do our color layer. And then we have to do our pupil layer, and then we have to do like a highlight style layer. So we just really want to get these down so that we can come back to them. And I have my son's on standby to pick up my daughter today, so we will be able to do our 20 rocks as long as my hand holds out. That's what kind of got in the way last time, is my hand started hurting, and it's just one of those things. You got to listen to your body. When your body tells you to take breaks, you got to take breaks. But my hands get mad at me sometimes. All right, so we've got those all down. So we're going to go ahead and set those off to the side so they have some time to dry. And then we are going to do get down our zombie heads. Why don't we get down the first layer of those, because those are going to take a little bit of layering as well. So for the zombies this time, I decided I was going to go ahead and use our jewel tone colors just to kind of mix it up a little bit. This yellowish goldish color is almost like a pea green, and I think it's a great zombie color. I've done these with just the regular light green before. You can make your zombies any colors you want to. I have a very simple zombie style design that I do. So we're going to just start by putting all of our heads down on our stones. So I do add a small body, so you want to be slightly above the center. These are the zombies, not zombies. can't really say. These ones, zombies, the original ones. So you're gonna go ahead and just put a circle on your stone. If you want to pre-plan, you can take like a divot out of one side that you're gonna have the brains coming out of. It's not necessary though. You can just draw right over the top of it as well once it dries. So you can do it either way you want to. Maybe I'm gonna do 2 on this rock because it's kind of horizontal. So we'll have some zombie buddies here. How about that? Maybe a big one and a shorter one. Here we go. The zombies are fun too, though. All right. And again, these you can just change based on the size of your rock. I've done these pretty small. These ones I'm going to do a couple of them a little bit bigger. And if you notice, I am using the side. This is an extra fine tip paint pen, but you can see I'm filling it in pretty fast because I'm using the side of the paint pen instead of the tip of the paint pen. It also protects your paint pens from wearing down as fast. So we're going to get our heads on here, and then I also want to get the bodies on here so those can have a little bit of time to dry. So I decided with the bodies on these, so I've got the pink in the jewel tone pack I'm going to use for brains. But I think I might actually, I'm going to think about that. Let's see how dark that is. Actually, I don't even remember. Yeah, we'll be able to do that for the brains. Okay, so we're going to do brains that color. So we're going to do the outfits in the orange and blue because that will look kind of like a denim. And maybe we'll even have a couple with, maybe one on here will have purple outfit. So I use super simple clothes on these. Yeah, I do too, Tammy. My black paint pens slowly get down to flat. That's why with these, they came with the extra tips. So I'm just kind of used to taking care of them. I guess it's not as big of a deal because I could always swap out if I needed to. But I think it's kind of par for the course. Isn't that the expression, right? You know what's going to happen. We're working on rocks. So, okay, so we're just going to do kind of an upside down U filled in for our outfit. And let's do this one over here too. There we go. And let's do, I think I'm gonna do blue and purple together on this one. So it's like, does anybody know any zombie puns? You could always add zombie puns to your rocks too if you want to. See, I like changing up the colors of outfits and stuff. Sometimes that's the difference of the rock that a little kid wants. Like there could be a kid, their favorite color is purple. So since the zombie has on a purple shirt or dress or whatever they think it looks like, that might be the rock. That is the one that they want to have. So that's why I like mixing up colors. Same thing I'm going to do with the eyes. We'll do them in lots of different colors and things like that, just because you never know what the thing will be. Okay. All right, so we got the bottom layer of all of those guys. We're going to push those off to the side and let those start drying. let's go ahead and start on our boo dangles. So the boo dangles were these ones. So I have the flat ones up here. So if you have some that are a little bit more wide, the bat will fit on those really easily. The boo dangles, these are just the biggest ones kind of that I have left. It will give me more area to play with. Now with these, I'm gonna look to see, like, you know how I like to look to see which way they would stand comfortably and look good. So that's what I'm gonna kind of pick and choose which direction these are going to go based on that. But if you're familiar with the dangles, they are very, forgiving is not the right word, customizable. These are definitely another one of the ones, like, as they build, they look more and more neat. At first, they just look a little bit muddy. I don't put pants on my zombies. I keep my zombies very basic. They almost remind me of like the Plants vs. Zombies. So we'll do a little bit of decoration on the top half. You could give them pants. Mine is just kind of like the top shoulders, and their arms are kind of just straight down, like they're just wandering zombies. But yes, you can definitely give them pants. You can give them a whole outfit if you want to. But I will not be today. All right, so extra fine tip side of a paint pen. The first thing you want to do is you got to give your dangles someplace to be hanging from. So you're going to create an arch or a line or something along the top portion of your stone. So like on this one, I'm going to create kind of an arch like this. And that's where all my dangles are going to be coming from. Now I always have something at the tips of every line that I make. It's almost like there's a weight to them. And it's probably been a while since I've done a full dangle tutorial. So I am going to talk my way through this. I know some of y'all have been here a long time and have seen dangles quite a few times. So like this one here, see how it kind of comes to the side? You can have your dangle line go all the way over there like that. That would be the top. And you can have dangles coming off of words too, but on this, for this example, if it goes straight to an edge, see how I kicked it down. So there's going to be a dangle hanging from the edge. This one would go this way, this way. And this way. So this one would actually come all the way over here, I think. Just kind of, if you can curve it down, put one there. If it kind of just ends, you can give it a straight line down. Oop, I went off the edge of my rock. And you don't have to draw circles. These can be dots too, because we're going to be layering. That's just, I don't know why I'm drawing circles. That's just how it's coming off my thing right now, but they're not necessarily. You can make them just dots. And even if you have a wavy top, just follow along. Okay, so now we have our structure. This is where all of our dangles will be coming off of this top line. Now the top line does not have to be a complete solid line like this. You can come back through here and create areas where you're gonna add pops of color. Like I can come back along here and add a line like this with a couple dashes that I can fill in later with color. You can do lots of different things up here. You can add actual dots along the top line like this. I'm just doing circles because I want them to be bigger. Okay. Now, since these are boo dangles, the first thing before I get too carried away is I do want to get my word boo onto my stone. So you can do it, I showed you on the Post-its that you can do horizontally, or, you know, something like this where each letter is hanging alone, or you can hang down like this. So I think I can do a vertical boo on this one. So I'll do a vertical boo on this one. And with those, we're going to go over the letters. So what I'm going to do I'm just going to create my dangle. And then I am going to write my letter B, but I'm going to write it thicker. So I'm going to put it on thin like that. But now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to thicken it up because I want to be able to come in here with an extra fine tip paint pen down the center of my black lines, and then that will give it an outline automatically. Oh my gosh, see, I can hear the crickets. I have to turn that off, you guys. I'll be right back. You have no, I'm gonna have to ask my son when I get off. All right, so I do want to have a little space between each letter, so even if it's just the tiniest little dash, and then a dash, and then your last letter. Now it's funny because I know technically I said I only do one new tutorial each week. Now I've done Happy Halloween dangles, so this one's technically not new, but I really have never done this one for you guys before. All right, so we've got Boo on there. Now I've got not a lot of space here, but I am going to add one at the bottom, like that. Now, once you have on your word, now it's just about adding fun designs and dangles to fill in the rest of the negative space. Now, you can create these dangles coming down. I like to start with a few long ones first, and then you can kind of fill in between the longer ones. And you can add curls too, so you could do something like this where it kind of curls back on itself, like that. And then from there, you can have a dangle come down. Something like that. And then you can put dots right along your string. Like that. Now this one here, obviously we stopped it here, but this can come way down. We can have a big one down here at the bottom. Maybe we have a big, medium, small stack here. Okay, you can put other shapes too. You can do diamonds and squares. Like sometimes I've done candy corns before, like where it's just the triangle with the 3 colors. We can do one of those on here. We have the space right here. Spiders. So we could do a little spider hanging on this one over here. Let's see if we can get, we're gonna do legs. We're gonna do 2 up, 2 out, and then we'll do 2 down. Okay, so we got a spider there. You can have these connecting just to give a little bit of layering. Again, you can break those spaces up because you can fill those with colors too. Anywhere that you're creating the dangles is where the color is going to be added into your design. So you'll want to have some fun areas. To add pops of color. And don't forget about this top line. You will want areas to add along the top. Okay. And I know that it looks kind of boring right now, but you can always add more dangles. That's something I always am talking about when I do the dangle style rocks. You can always put more on. You can't take them off. Once you get the color on there, if you want to add more, but sometimes just get one layer on, because if it gets too muddy, it can get really jumbled up and it can start just kind of looking messy. So I'm going to come along here and I am going to bounce out and in a few times along this top one, just to create these spaces that I can add some color pops to. So I'm going to go ahead and add on my boo. So let's go. Same technique. I'm going to make my letters nice and wide. So I can literally just do a stripe down the center with my color. And there we go. And we'll do now. I have a hard time. I'm gonna have a hard time gauging where I want my bee to land so that the line's right in the center of it. So I'm just gonna write my bee on here first. See this? Oh, I just kind of, I don't want to miss. So I'm gonna put my bee on first and then add the drop down line. I have a little bit of a crack there that I'm working with. When you hit cracks, slow down. Go real slow over the cracks, that way you don't splatter your paint pen. And it helps it get that ink down into those cracks as well, because it kind of flood in there. Okay, so now I've got that. So now I can decide, okay, this is gonna hang from right there. Okay, now I'm gonna add a little line on the bottom of each of these. And maybe a single one here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Have some fun like that. All right. Maybe do maybe we'll have a curl come back off of this guy like that. Okay. See, there's a big hole here. So I could go like this to go around that hole. All the way back up like that. I can add a couple little jewels up here so there's a pop of color there. Okay. Oh, but there's somebody at my house. Hold on. Thank you. My neighbor borrowed my thermometer. Did I just hit my camera? Was it up that high before? I don't know if I hit it. Yeah, well, all sorts of things interrupting me today. That's okay. We're doing pretty good. Look at us go. This is further than we normally are along at this point in time. So we're going to leave those. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth. So these take a little bit longer. So I'm going to set these to the side for now. Actually, hold on. These are still pretty. Maybe we'll have like I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we'll wait. Psych. Okay, so let's go eyeballs layer 2. And again, I'm just going to go over the white area, or it's all white, right? The area that will stay white on the eyeball. So I'm going to decide where is my color going to be on my eye, and I'm going to kind of go around that. So I'm not wasting a bunch of time layering up a bunch of white where I'm just going to cover it up anyways. But having the white under your color will help with that. So you can just kind of create a circle and then color around that. You can have the eyeballs looking in any direction you want. Kind of play around with that a little bit. Biggest thing, you want them to overlap somewhere so that we can play with that shadow. Okay, so I can do this one kind of looking off over here. Okay, and this one. Okay. See how that one you can see better a little bit. Okay, let's see here. We've got a handful of extra people in here hanging out today. I don't know if anybody that hasn't said hello in the chat. If you're painting along, I'd love to know. I know some people are watching on TV, so they can't say. We already know. But we had a handful of new people last time. I know. Now, I was about to sing it, but I am not a karaokeer. I know exactly what song you're singing in your mind or out loud. I don't know, maybe you're singing it out loud. I will not be serenading you guys, but I know, I know that one. Very familiar. We can always touch up the whites a little bit if you see areas you're not hitting it. Sometimes it's hard to tell with the white where you've gotten and where you haven't. This one's really that dry. And you don't have to worry too much about the shaping of your colored part of your eye too, because if the eye's looking to the side, it might not be a perfect circle. If it's straight on, it could be a perfect circle. If it's a monster, maybe they don't have perfect circles. So, you know how I like to have something that's slightly forgiving for you guys. And also, I do want to commend and say I appreciate everybody coming and sharing those skull hands, because I was starting to doubt myself halfway through, and then I was like, you know what, these are pulling together, and then you guys shared them, and I was so happy that you guys stuck with it and gave those ones a try, because I really like how they turned out. I thought they were such a fun addition this year, and it was definitely a trust the process rock. You guys really had to give it some extra effort. And that's just one of those things where when I see you guys come back and share them, it you know, lets me know, okay, I was able to explain it properly. I do not do resin, Julie. I have a resin tutorial. I've done the UV resin a couple times. It's very toxic. There's a lot. I mean, you have to wear a mask and all that stuff if you're doing UV, and it's kind of expensive. And so especially for a big batch like this, so I can be indoors because sometimes the weather's not cooperating. I'll be doing DuraClear, so it'll be a brush-on style, which is always good to show though, because I feel like the brush-on, especially if you're using paint pens and such, can be tricky. Some people have problems with paints running and getting away from them in that sense. So that's what I will be using. Okay, let's go ahead and start a couple bats. Everybody's hanging with here. So if you have a more wide style rock that you're trying to use up, go ahead and grab one of those. I have just kind of a very simple bat. Now, again, I am not ever somebody you're going to want to go to for like an anatomically correct animal. I am not, not it. Okay. So my bat, I don't know if they're supposed to have certain amount of points and things in their wings. This is just how I draw my bats to make them easy to follow and recognizable. People will know it's a bat. Now, I like my bats to have a pretty big head because I want to be able to get 2 eyes in there. So go ahead and get a head on. And then I do a freakishly small body. So a little body like that. And I'll do a few of them. So depending on the size of your rock is how big your head's going to be. You got to save a little bit of space for ears. Make sure the outer edge is what you want it to be because we're going to fill it in anyway. So if you have a mistake on the inside, that's fine. Or if you need to kind of shape your circle, just make sure the outer edge of your ring is how you want it to be. I'm going to make a couple of these with like silly wide wings. Just because we can. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can always make the heads bigger, but you can't make them smaller. So we're going to start with them just like that. Okay, and then you're going to start your wings. So your wings are going to go, I always do a line left to right, the width that you want your wings to be. And we're actually going to cut through kind of right above the neckline, left to right. So just do the width across. That's going to be your wing span, I guess is the word that I was looking for. Now, along each side, we're going to give a little arch. And then on the top, you're going to swoop up somewhere and then back down and attach. And then you want to do it generally about in the same area along the top, like that. And then the bottom one, I always do a little bit deeper and then back up to the body. So you're going to come down a little bit further and then back up to the body. So down a little bit further, back up to the body. Okay, and that's your basic bat. I mean, it's going to look like a bat if you fill it in. Now, this is what I meant by like, I don't know if you're supposed to have a certain amount. You can add more arches to make them even more intricate if you want to. So you're going to fill this all in black, the body all in black. I am going to leave space for eyes though, and I like to have big bulgy eyes. So I'm not going to fill in the head quite yet. Or if I do, I'm going to make really big round circles so that I go around those. Which is, I suppose, what I'll probably end up doing here. Fill in our little body. Okay. So I'm basically going to draw 2 circles as big as I can inside this head. Like I'm going to make them as big as I can. They're going to be touching the edges, and I always make them one bigger than the other because it's easier to make it look on purpose to have them 2 different sizes than trying to make them perfectly the same size. So that's what I'm doing. Fill in around these eyes. Okay. And then I can round those when I'm filling it in, and then we're going to give them 2 pointy ears. Like that. Okay. Then once you've got it on here, you can zhuzh. Like, look how much thicker this side is than this side. So I think I didn't arch this down as far, maybe. So I can come back and try to just do little things at a time. Okay, better. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry. And then we'll come back and do eyes, okay? So here, we'll do another one here. So again, left to right, just above the neckline here. Little hash on each side. And you can do it closer. Then you can do this one further away. Like you can really play with these to make the wing shapes different. And I meant to go back up further again, and I didn't. So we're gonna do, already making a mess out of this one. As long as you have these points, it's a bat. I feel like you guys are gonna have quotes of me one day somewhere, and it'll be like, my favorite kind of tutorial is one that you can make a million mistakes and it's still gonna be what you want it to be. All right. They're so cute. Their eyeballs. My favorite thing about these bats is their little googly, giant, big eyeballs. There we go. Gotta have his ears. Trust the process. It's hard sometimes. Trust the process, right? Now look at this guy's pretty short, so I'm going to do the shorter edge first so I know how far out to this side it can be. Okay, so we can point it outward a little bit just to give it a little bit more reach. Up and then back, up and then back. See, I was dragging too hard. You heard that little splatter? Okay, we're going to come up, down, and up. Up, down, up. Okay. And even though we didn't have a lot of space to work with, we're going to be able to pull off this bat. So these work good for these little, smaller rocks. Don't worry about their eyes. Like, I'm just leaving space so I don't have to go over the black and over the black, but we're going to make those nice and round with our paint pens. I didn't do my... Okay. So once, oh, I have one more of these. I guess I could have waited to fill in all of them, but we're so close now, might as well finish these ones. These ones will be probably our first to be done because the white, well, we still have to do the pupil and then the highlight. So it does still technically need 2 layers. You can arch upward a little bit more. Like once you kind of see like the pattern that you need to make with the wings, like just to kind of create these points and then drop back to your center line, you can really just play around with it. Because like just different angles and arches are going to create different wing shapes. And then you can just, once you've got it colored in, you can really just play around with it. know why something about that reminds me of Spider-Man. Nope, that one got a little bit away from me. Okay. All right, so we're gonna fill this in. I think we're gonna come back to our zombies next and see if I think we might need a little bit of maybe second coats. We're gonna take a look. It depends on how it's drying. Okay, so this a little thicker here. See, let's see, like this is on the inside of this one and on the outside of this one. So maybe I should give it a second. I don't know. Who knows? Now he's just got spikes on his wing. I don't know. We'll look at him later. All right. Get those out of the way. Let's see here. Zombies. Okay, our outfits. I don't mind any of these outfits. The orange I need a second coat. We're going to do a second coat on the orange. I don't care if they have a little bit of lines and textures. We're going to kind of grunge these up a little bit because they're zombies and they've been wandering around, you know. So I am going to do a second coat on a couple of these faces. Not even the whole thing. Like this one, there's like one spot here. It looks like it just needs a little bit more paint. But I guess I might as well, if I'm on here, just do it. Okay. And then I'm going to do these orange outfits. Now I am going to pull on the orange outfits the direction that like the material would flow. So if there are lines left over, it won't look so bad when it dries. I'm just going to pull down like that. It's so funny how much different certain colors go on. Yeah, and that second coat, try to just touch each area one time. All right. Let those sit. Slide these over here. Let's do some more boos. These take a little bit of time. How are we coming along, you guys? Are we keeping pace today? I know a few of you do one per rock. Some of you try to do all of them. So we're almost at the 1 hour mark. I'm telling you, I think we're definitely further along today than we normally are at this point in time. I'm very, very happy with our progress today. So this one, I think what I'm going to do is actually have a secondary area here on this one. We're going to go like this. And we're going to have some fun dangles up here. Boom, 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 boom. And then we're going to have the boo hanging from this section. Like that. And then let's... little crack here. Okay. All right. Gave up on the bat. Still interested for sure. Yes, cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that actually, just because I don't know if I've ever sat in Sealed Rocks live, but it's definitely one where I can do more of a Q&A style, and maybe I'll do that one on Facebook, because that one I don't actually have to pay attention to what I'm doing in the same sense, and so I can get a better, 'cause I do want to talk along the lines of moving forward. I have enjoyed doing the lives. But I just kind of want to see if other people would like me to continue doing them live often. I don't know how often I'd be able to do them, but commit to it. It's funny, it looks like a Christmas tree there right now, but it won't once it's filled in with candy corns. This has like a lot of little bumps right here, so I'm really nervous about going into that section. So for now, I'm going to leave that because I don't want to mess it up. Okay. You know what, Jesse? I was thinking about doing a once of a month type situation where I can kind of do, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be doing 101. And I also, if I was going to do it on a regular basis, now I'm doing 20 rocks each time because we're trying to get to this 101 rocks. But normally I'm not trying to paint that amount of quantity of rocks. So we're talking maybe closer to like the 1 hour range for lives, I think. And maybe just having like one, maybe two designs that I'm doing. Oh, Janet, we used to do, when I first started Rock Painting 101, we used to do we did a 52 week rock challenge. It was a lot to keep up with. It's funny because, so I'll do this 2 hour live, and I've thought about recording this, like the back end. So I'll do this 2 hour live. When I get off with you guys, I'll stop. As long as I'm done with all the rocks, I set up the rocks, take individual pictures of each one of the kinds. So the 5 bats, the 5 zombies, the 5 eyeballs, the 5 boos. Then I take group photos of all of them together. And then I move them over to my pile and take photos with them together. And then, and then I have to download the video so that I can edit out whatever the new video is into a YouTube version, a Facebook version, a few reels. Yeah, it's hard, Janet. It's a lot to keep up with. And if you're not getting a lot of participation, then it's like you're doing all this work for, it can be it's tough. And it was, when I was first doing the rock painting, I feel like there was a lot more momentum in the rock painting community at the time. Rock painting was like blowing up all over the place. So there was a lot of people just like looking for inspiration. Let's see here. I want to do another spider. So let's do the web all the way down. Again, if you're doing a spider, you can do 2 legs out to each side, 2 up, and then 2 down. It's an easier way to get all 8 legs on there than trying to get them all sticking out to the sides, especially with your paint pen. Okay. Okay. One more here. I have to say, I have committed to using these two sets of paint pens, but extra fine tip wise, I think I still prefer, I feel like this isn't always super dark. Like it can be slightly transparent sometimes. And I don't know if it's the style of rock, but I didn't want to switch because I was using the 4 things this whole series, which I don't know how if that even matters, but it's what I was doing, so I'm gonna stick with it. This one I think I'm gonna do vertically. I'm gonna make it work. All right, so I wanna have a dash in between each one. So now look how close I am together here. So now I know when I'm doing my thicknesses, I want to go into my circle. So keep that in mind when you're like widening things. You can go either way. You don't have to make it bigger. You can make it smaller. And I think I'm going to color these ones in with the jewel tones. And then we'll use our other colors for our eyeballs. Because those have the nice thick tips. And I think we're going to want that to make the big colored areas. Okay. There we get that. I just feel like I'm getting either dust in here. See, now I pulsed it. Now I feel like it's coming out thick. Okay. I'm gonna let that go because right now it's just, oh no, it's fine. Let's go up here. See, no rules, like literally anything you want. Okay, there we go. All right, we'll move those to the side. All right, let's work on our zombies a smidge. So I'm gonna grab my pink and we are going to work on our brains. So with your zombies, if you have dimples in your rocks, that can work to help with your brains. The main thing, you want to have like kind of a pile. You can have it kind of hang off one side. You can have it all right on top, whatever you want to do. Just play around with it, have fun. When you're putting your brains down, I suggest doing them in a circular motion so that you don't have a flat edge anywhere. Like that. And you can have it dripping down onto the face, going along the edge of the head. Just kind of something like that. Okay. And it can go as far onto the face as you want as well. Okay. And then we also are going to go ahead and put on, I always do one eye and one X for an eye. So you can pick one side just to do a big eye like that. Boom. Just so it can have some time to dry. And on these, I don't even care if it pulls up a little bit of that green. It doesn't even bother me. Their eyes might be a little jaundicey anyways. And just get that on there so we can have some dry time. And then for their outfit, I am very simple. Like, I know we brought this up before. You can add pants. You can add whatever you want. I keep this super simple. So I'm going to do an outline around the outfit like this, a stripe down the middle, a pocket square space, and a couple buttons like this. And then I actually, while it's still wet, kind of dab on here and kind of smush it around. See how fast that made it look kind of like messy? Okay, and then you can go back and add on whatever you had. You can add also like little like patchy kind of scratch marks, like whatever you want. You could add a collar on there. You could add arm lines. So if you go like this, you'd have some quick little arm lines. That's not hard to do. Okay, really, really, really basic. And you don't even have to put a pocket on if you don't want to. I just like them to be messy, I guess. In my mind, a zombie's always going through it, right? Okay. And this one can have just like and nothing, you know, you can still be messy though. Just remember, if you do that though, you are pulling the paint up, so you can go back and add in those stripes again if you want. Okay. There we go. That's a loaded question. So Karen, not counting price. It depends. I can't actually say. Truly Art has so many more colors to choose from. And so I love that, like, there's like a wild amount of colors that you can pick from. I haven't had them as long, so I don't know longevity wise. Like, I have some Posca pens that I've literally had since the original pack that I bought. I'm gonna do my XI on here. The original pack that I bought like years ago, I still have, and they still work. So I am not able to completely compare them accurately for that reason. I am very impressed with the coverage. I know I mentioned the black earlier with the extra fine. I had the same problem with the Artistro. Sometimes the extra fine tip black didn't seem to come out as dark. Like, it would occasionally dry slightly see-through, and it's kind of strange to me how that would happen. And the price difference is pretty massive. So I didn't answer your question. If I had to start from scratch again, the very first thing that I always suggest for people to purchase, and I would still agree with this now, is the multi-pack of Posca that you get 3 different sizes of all the basic colors. Because you can blend with paint pens and you can get most of the colors, and their basic packs have all the true colors in them. That's where I would start. And then you can expand and get fun colors in the Toolie sets and other Posca sets and things like that as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to let these set for a minute. We'll come back to them. That white's not quite there yet, so we're going to have to come back to these at some point in time anyways, but we're getting pretty close there on those zombies. Let's go ahead and do some colored spots on our eyes. Now, the black is going to cover any of whatever color we decide to make our eyeballs themselves. So I am going to just fill in the eyeball area completely. And I am going to just mix and match eye colors with my, I've got violet, blue. We'll do this fun bright green. I don't really want orange eyes. I think I'm going to keep it between these 3 colors. Or should I do orange eyes? What do you guys think? Was orange too wild? I mean, it is Halloween. It could be, I mean, I guess in my little doodle, I had like yellowish colored eyes. We'll do them. Orange eyes. Now, gray is the other color head. I don't think I'm going to do gray eyes. Maybe I'll use the gray in the colors to give them some stripes. Maybe that's how we'll use the gray in the process. I actually really like that idea. So we'll use the extra fine tip of the gray to go back through and create our radial lines. And then we're going to use our colors for our actual color. I don't think I went around the outside edge of this in white. This one eyeball here. I'm not sure how I missed that. Or maybe it just didn't take very well. All right. Move that one off to the side so I don't do that one first. All right. Blue. So again, just based on the way that the eyeball's looking, it's not necessarily going to be 100% like circle. Like if an eyeball's looking off to the side, it's going to be an ellipse. So I do want to have a little bit of white showing on the other side. So I am just going to kind of go like that. I'm going to leave the center open. I am going to take my extra fine tip gray, and we're going to just give this kind of a test and see how this looks. But I'm just going to kind of stripe towards the center with it. And you can't see it a lot, but you can. And I'm going to have to pull it up close so you can see. Doodle off the tip so you don't keep that blue on there. I don't know if you can see that very well. Just like a little slight detail to it to make it more like an eye. Okay, so we'll do, that color is probably the least it's going to show up on. So let's do a big violet eye. Elizabeth Taylor, right? Didn't she have violet eyes? Let's see if the gray shows up on that one. You're welcome, Karen. I know that's like kind of a non-answer. I'm just not, I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody. So, I mean, I have tried pens that I have not liked, and I will take them out of my shop if I don't like them or if they stop working as well. See, on that one, I feel like that's almost too much gray. So we're going to come back with the purple and go right back into that. There we go. Now you could do this two-tone with like whatever you want. Just make sure you're rotating so that your lines are going like towards the center of your eyeball. So that you get kind of that eyeball look to it. Let's see. Well, see, I have 3 eyeballs on every one. So maybe I will just do the 3 colors because otherwise it's going to start being strange. So let's go up here. Make sure you get a clean tip if you're mixing and matching colors. Same thing with this one. Bring it up a little closer. So I'm just kind of going in a radial motion, and I'm kind of breaking to create just that. Because if you don't have a secondary color, like you could do this with a light green and a dark green. I'm just using the gray because I'm forcing it because that's the color I've been using for everything else. But you could do a light green, dark green combination, light blue, dark blue combination, whatever you want to do. But having that secondary color in there is what's going to create that eye. It really kind of helps make it look like an eye. And then I did realize after the fact, you do have to slightly pay attention to how your eyeballs are stacking, because as of right now, this isn't going to work. So, well, it could. So this one could be on top. So the white, this one's on top. Like here. Yeah, so that works. So that would cut across there. Then this one can be on top here. Okay. Because if your eye white would be on top of your colored part, you might have to do some touching up. For the most part, you should be able to tell, like this one. So see how the white, I have it going on top. So see, that's not a full circle. So try to kind of pay attention to that when you're filling in your colors. So this one I'm going to do without those iris-y lines just to kind of show the difference. And let's see here, I'm just going to do. Nope. I just saw your thing about your 40th reunion rocks being popular. I just love, I mean, an occasion where you can have a theme. I think it's so fun to have rocks. I know a lot of people have been doing them like at weddings. There's just a lot of really good. There we go. All right, so they all have a blue eye. Okay, so see how this one's tucking underneath. So I'm going to kind of go like that. So if you're worried about this, you could always outline your actual eyeballs first. So you could come in. Where did my black go? And do your eyeball outlines. So like this one I have on, I think I'm going to have on top of both here. So this is going to be the top eyeball. And then this one. And now I don't want to do that because that green's wet. So, but see how it would cut across like that? So if you outline your eyeballs first, then you might be able to, here, let me do this one. So this one here, see these ones are stacked. So you got to decide which one's going to be on top. It depends on which way you want your rock to sit. You can kind of decide. So I think I'm going to have this one be on top, the blue one that's already here. So let's just go ahead and create an eyeball for him. Like his full eyeball. Like that, okay. And then I think I'm going to have this one on top. No, this one. And then just kind of follow that one around. And then this one. Like that. Okay, and then that way you know your white's not going to go over it. I guess in my mind I could kind of see for the most part, but then I was noticing as I was coloring, maybe not so much. Okay. All right. It's like, now should I just outline them all since I cut this out? And then cut right across like that. Okay. That one's the closest to being done. Not quite there. Let's see here. We'll have this one be on top, in the middle. Hardest part about this tutorial is probably outlining a circle-ish shape. Had too much coffee today. I feel wobbly today, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just doing my best. If it gets really far away from you, you can always touch up. We're going to come in and do some veining, like some bloodshot lines and things. And once everything is said and done and everything's kind of put together, I don't think you're going to notice your lines as much, because you're going to have veining going and highlights going and shadows going. We've got a little ways to go on these guys. All right. All of those are outlined. Let's put our pupil on these guys because I want to do a highlight. Yeah, outline and then done the white. Yeah, now that I'm doing hindsight, yeah, I'm not sure. Although white over black can be tricky, but yeah. All right. We are going to do the whites of our bat eyes really fast. This is going to only take a moment, but I want the white to be able to dry so we can do pupils as well. So we're basically, like I said, if you do it on purpose, if they aren't the same size on purpose, it looks better than if you're look like they're supposed to be the same size and they're off. So just go for it. One being way bigger than the other, and just get your white on here. So one that's kind of more of like an ovally wonky one that's a little bit more circle. Okay, and you can kind of look back at them, see if you can go in with the extra fine tip if you need to, just kind of, if you need to get in there and kind of really like adjust one part. Sometimes with the bigger tips, it's harder to get as precise. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, let's get back to our eyeballs. I'm just jumping all over the place today, guys. Sometimes I look up and I realize, oh, shoot, that's really fast. I need to get that done so that I can get back to it. Things with layers, you know? All right. So, green eye. And green eye. This is going to go behind. Green, green. Oh, up here. All right, that's all my green eyes. Get my violet. Where'd my violet go? Oh, there it is. I have to say violet. It can't be purple because you can have violet eyes, right? I want brown. I have brown eyes, but, or hazel. I guess mine are kind of hazely. Okay. Okay. Oh, one more over here. Okay. All right. Those are gonna have to dry, so I still need to do, we're gonna do the veining, and we're gonna use our red for the veining, but then we're gonna go back with our white so we can get it nice and skinny. Normally I would use like a disposable eyeliner brush, but I don't want to use that today because we're trying not to. All right, so Boo Dangles. You know what's funny is I did say I was gonna do my jewel tones for these, but I can't because I don't have a yellow for doing inside of my candy corn. So we're just gonna have to do a mixture. We're just gonna do whatever we feel like. So for the dangles, you're just gonna take your time. You're gonna dot in your circles. You're going to fill in all of your shapes and colors and lines. We're gonna use these colors because we can use these colors, it's fine. I think I'm gonna go with these 4 specifically across the designs, and maybe white because I'll need that just for my candy corn. All right, so candy corn is white at the tip, white, orange, yellow. So I'm gonna go right in here and fill in that tip, and I'm gonna just be gentle, little tiniest little touches to get that white in there. And you know what? I think I'm gonna do a white dot here on either side of our spider since he's on a web. Maybe he'd have some white dangles. And remember I said before, I mean, we're starting with less, you know, you can always add more, but we're gonna start with a smaller amount. All right, so I'm gonna do the yellow part on here. Now, if you aren't using paint pens, you can use dotting tools. Toothpicks work really good for getting tiny little bits of paint in these tiny little areas. Okay, let's do a little dot up here of yellow. And maybe one of these ones over here, yellow. So we're just adding a dot and a dot. I think I'm gonna do my Boo letters in the green. So with these, I just want to trace inside. So I'm basically going to write the letter, and hopefully I'm not in your way too much here. Let's see if I can bring it up close and do it kind of to the side. So I'm going to go right down the middle. There we go. Oop, sorry. I don't know if I want all the letters to be green. I think I'm going to mix up the letter colors. I'm going to do green, yellow, and orange. It's really hard to hover like this. I'm going to place it down for that last letter because I'm pressing down and my rock is moving. I was trying to hold it up so you guys could see better. Okay, just like that. And they might need more than one coat. You're going right over the top of black. So we're going to do the orange dot down here. And get a little line in here for a candy corn. And then you're just going to start dotting around just to fill in all of your dangles with all these colors. So I capped these other two before I did much else with them. But just these tiny little dots, they really, it's so cute, so fast. So it comes together really fast. And after you get in a few dots around, you're going to start to see like, okay, this is where I want another dot. This is where I need another pop of color or another bit of something. So let's go purple. The purple's a little dark. Sure it's not showing up great to you guys, but if I bring it close, you can see it in there. And then these sections up here, you can fill those with color as well. Okay, so I did orange here. Let's do yellow there. Okay. Green. Let's do more white. I kind of like that white. Even though we're on a light rock, the white actually does pop still. Okay. Let's see. And so I just like to bounce around just to kind of see. The candy corn on there is really fun. And you can just do the color combo. If the triangle is too hard, it is kind of tricky to get the paint in there. You can just do, now this combo's in the wrong order, but you could just do the combo and you still get that effect of candy corn. People see those three colors together and they automatically think of candy corn. All right, so that is all the dangles on here. Now, again, the letters are going to need a second coat. Now, automatically looking at it, I've already decided I want a dangle dot in between my letters. So I'm going to go ahead and just come back here and add my dot now of my black so it has some time to dry. So I'm just going to do a dot in between each one. I want to put a white dot in between each one. And then I'm going to look around like where you do want some negative space, but like, is there an area that looks kind of boring? Like, I feel like this curl, it needs something in this area. So we're going to do 1, 2 little dots there. And then I think I want one more on top of here. And then I think we're gonna call it. I think then that's gonna be okay. I think so. Okay. So we're gonna set that one to the side, but here, I'll bring it up real quick so you guys can kind of see up close. See how much, I mean, it's like you go from something, it looks so boring, but once you start adding the color in, it's just so cute. And the little dots are so whimsical. So let's go ahead and do, okay. Let's do some of the dots while I get the green out. So these ones are great to do in batches because you can just kind of work your colors around your stones. Do a little bit on each one. That's all of them. All right. Let's switch to the yellow. Yeah, like this one doesn't have a candy corn one on it. So let's add a third dot here. Yellow would be top. There we go. And we'll come back and make that into like a candy corn inspired one. We'll go, oh, I didn't do the other ones. Okay. There we go. This would be yellow here. Okay, one more. All right. I know we don't have any finished rocks yet, you guys, but we are really getting close on almost all of them, which is kind of fun. They're all going to finish up around the same time. This one, I feel like my black needs to be relined. It's very light right there. I think I'm going to do that real quick so it has time to dry before we come back around. It's all the... Oh, welcome. I know. Well, we still have some time to go. You can play catch up. Massive catch up. Okay, let's go ahead and do a couple dots here. I can tell I'm already going to want that. Something here. Okay. So I'll let that one dry a little bit. All right. Let's do orange. So we'll finish our letters. Now, I think this is maybe one of the first times that I've done the live dangles in a long time. Have any of you guys ever been on a live dangle tutorial? I mean, I used to do the dangles all the time when I was first doing tutorials. It was like one of my first, I don't want to say obsessions, but borderline obsessions that I was painting dangles on everything for every holiday, for every theme, color combinations. This is the one that was the 3 in a row. I wanted to make sure I got that before I forgot. All right, so let's do this guy up here. Let's do this side here. Maybe that one. And I often dot in the same spot multiple times instead of making it bigger. Like if you dot, dot, dot in the same place, it will kind of expand a little bit. Sometimes it's easier than trying to actually pull off like a circle shape. Okay, I got orange dots everywhere. No, I didn't do any orange dots on this one yet. Okay. Purple and white, and then we'll go back through. Not great at them, but you try. Yeah, well, mandalas can be, those are tricky too. These are on the smaller size, rock-wise for these. The bigger the rock you have, a little bit more forgiving they can be. But like I mentioned before, I was down to my very end of my rocks from my big batch of 50 rocks. These were all that I had left. So I was like, what can I get on these? And that's why I went with Boo instead of doing the Happy Halloween ones again, because I've done these in a Happy Halloween before. But that's a lot more detail. And I thought that would be kind of tricky to get onto these smaller stones. Let's see, here we have bigger one there. Dot there. Let's see, here we got, I'm not gonna dot that one, that's for my white. Okay. Bigger dot there, white. Let's do these two. And you can do them clusters the same, clusters different. There's just like no rules to this. I just bounce around, as you can tell. I'm not really trying not to overthink it too much, but I am trying to make sure like, hey, I've got some purple on this side, got some purple on this side. There's something purple up in this bunch at the top, that kind of stuff. All right, now we'll come through with the white because the white dots look so cute. And I think I'm even going to do this surface space up. Should I do that white or green? I think I'm going to do that green, actually. We'll do this dot here, white. Like there. And we'll do green there too. I feel like green needs to be over here. I didn't do green on this, so we'll do green in the leftover spots. Let's do white in the center of that one though. Okay. Now this one I could tell already, I want a dot at the top of each one of these letters. It looks boring there. So we're gonna go ahead and do our dots so they can start drawing. And I wanna add a secondary dot below this one, like that. And I just think I'm going to put some along this line because I've got these big divots right there. And so that's why I didn't want to, let's go 4 even, and a big dot there to cover that intersection. I just didn't want to dangle into that because I thought it would be a little rough through there. So we do need our white on this one so we can finish up our candy corn. Okay. Now those are still wet, so I'm not going to touch those right now. So we'll just do a couple spots here with our white, and then we will come back and do those along the tops. When we come back and do that section, do these 3 together. A little candy corn inspiration there. And then our candy corn there. Okay. Oh. Last one here. I feel like that should be green. So as you fill it in, you'll start to be like, okay, I don't have this color over here. I feel like that needs to be green. And sometimes they'll stick out to you like that. And other times they might not. I feel like I also want one of these to have a cluster kind of like that one has that yellow dot at the top. I feel like since I did a yellow dot from this one, I need a couple more of those. So I'm going to do one around that one. And this, I kind of started that and I didn't finish it. So I'm going to finish that like that. I am going to go back over my letters one more time on this one. Where was my first one? This was my first one. I did do the ones in between. I'm going to do white on either side of the O. And I think we'll do purple up here. And then yellow in these two. Okay, now I'll lay my yellow O. Okay, and then this one is done. Ah, wow, we are 15 minutes away from 2 hours. And here I thought we were ahead of schedule, but we're not. It's okay though. It's all right. We're getting there. One rock done. Number 81. These ones are just we're gonna follow them right behind though here. These are all just about finished. Which one did we touch last? This one. So we've got this dot here. I did a little dot here. Need something. We'll reline our B. It's nice and bright. Are all of the dots filled on this one? No, I rubbed that one. Oops. It's all right. All right, yellow. Okay. And the orange. And then there's 2 dots here. We're going to go with orange on those since I have it out. And I believe that one's done. We're going to do a little bit of body here. Just didn't seem that dark. And then if you need to reline anything, just try to use very light so you don't get too thick of a line going on. But like this, some sections you might flood over and you might need to come back in line. Okay, 82. All right, let's see. I'm trying to look at which ones I added sections to. This one we needed the green on the top. All right, and then we have a dot here, 2 down here. Do each of these letters and then they will be done. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this one. I can come back to these because we gotta get our pupils on everything. So those can dry. So we're gonna do pupils and then we'll finish up our zombies. All right, that one's done. All right, so let's do some pupils. We're gonna do these ones first because these ones are fastest. So I think I might actually use the bigger side because none of them are that small. Now that one is. All right, so pupils. I'm gonna go pretty big. They're coming out of the dark. Okay. Okay, so they all have pupils because we need highlights on those too. So they're not done yet. They're very close. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to add pupils. And it's funny how much just adding that black dot makes them so much more eyeball than when they have that white center. Now these, the size of your pupils, I mean, they can be all over the place. So that's definitely up to you how big you want to make them. Just make your pupil follow the shape of your eye. So if your eye is mostly circle, you want it to be mostly circle. If your eye is a little bit more in the ellipse, make it more of an ellipse. Okay. All right. Get those to the side. All right, let's finish our zombies. We're gonna do our zombies. We still have 2 dangles here. I'll keep those to the side so don't forget them. We got our zombies that we're gonna figure out. We know what we're doing with the zombies. Finish up is what I meant. So let's see here. We're at what? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for our zombies today, now I've done them with teeth before for the mouths. You can add like a tooth on here. I like them to be kind of frowny. So if you want a tooth, put the tooth on first. And then you can kind of create the downward shape around it. And that way you can come back and fill it in with white. I'm having 1 tooth there. You can have multiple teeth, whatever you want to do. If you want to keep it simple, you can just do a frowny face like that with no teeth. That's what I'm going to do on most of these. Okay. Now for lining on the brains to really help make them the brains. All right, so as you're following your curving lines, every once in a while, dip into the pink and wrap around. And that's going to make sense as I do it, but I just wanted to say it because I won't be able to say it as I'm doing it. So we're going to follow the line, and then you're going to come back in. So follow the outline and then come back in. Now, obviously, if a piece comes way down here, that's fine, but you can come back in like that. Okay, see how it kind of makes it like brains? And then to finish, we're going to go around the rest of his head. Like that. And I do like to do some fun little hairs, like coming out in a weird, you can have them come wherever. You can also do like a little scar somewhere, like he's been bashed up a little bit. And if you want, you can give him an eyebrow. I don't think I'm going to give him an eyebrow. I think he's fine without it. And he's done. Okay, so we'll do the rest of these brains so you can see a few more examples. But really, again, all you're doing is you're tracing around the outer edge of your windy thing, and every once in a while, just come back in. So windy down, come back in. And you can come back in just like an indent too. It doesn't have to be a big long line. So this guy, we'll give him a little eyebrow. How about that? One little eyebrow there. We can have the other one peeking out if we want to. Okay. A little scabby scar or something there. I do like the couple little hairs though. I don't know why. It's like one of my favorite things. Maybe you can have a couple whiskers coming off down there too. And then on the clothing, you can have a couple stitches too if you want to. You can have a tear, hashes on the clothes. I think I did that on the first one. I don't know if I really did that on any of the other ones. So since he's got a tooth, I'm actually going to grab my white here real quick, fill that in. It's one singular tooth. It's the last one he has left. All right, so even on this tiny little piece that's coming down, we can curl back in. So if we're following along like this, you can come back in like that. See that? Just makes it look like it's folding over itself. Mm-hmm. Okay. Zombies. How are your zombies coming? I like these guys. No, Julie, I do not worry about kids biting into rocks. I mean, mainly if a kid's gonna bite into a rock, I mean, I don't paint my rocks to look like food. I know some people maybe make fun candy looking ones. I don't ever make them look like candy. I feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like people's like, oh, are you worried they're going to throw a rock into a window? I'm like, well, if a kid's going to bite a rock or throw a rock in a window, like the fact that it's painted or not isn't really going to make a big difference. At least that's the way I look at it. Now, I know some people maybe make much more realistic looking things. And then, so if that's the case, that would maybe worry me a little bit. But like, none of my designs are ever looking like food, I don't think. Quite like that. We're going to give him an eyebrow situation here, too. And chin scar. All right. All right. Zombies, done. 5 more done. Woo! All right, we need to get our veining on our eyes so that gets a chance to dry so we can go back with white. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put some bloodshot on our eyes. Depending on how thick it looks when we get it on here is whether or not we're going to want to come back again with the white. So I want to get it on here in case I do. I'm not going to go bonkers with this, but I just want to have some on here. So just Y shapes, singular lines, a couple V's. So just try not to make it a straight line. They're never really straight. So they're kind of bumpy. Oops. So you're just going to kind of wobble your way out and turn it into the letter Y. So wobble your way out and then turn it to the letter Y. See, like on this one, I think it's going to be too thick. A singular wobbly line out or a V shape coming out like that, depending on how much space you have. I put up a table. I haven't gotten, so this year, I'm glad you said that. So this year is the first year that I will not be trick-or-treating with my daughter. Bittersweet. She's getting older and she's going to be going with her friends, which is fine. But that means I get to actually stay at my table and see them go away. But we do put them out on a table with the candy and let the kids kind of pick what rock they want to go with their candy. That way they can choose. Because different rocks speak to different kids for different reasons. It's like I was saying before when I was working on the zombies, you might weren't here yet, but like I'll do like a purple outfit or a red outfit or whatever, because different kids are going to want different things and you never know what the reason is unless they tell you. But I'm excited to kind of watch, and I might be able to film. I won't share, obviously kids specifically, but I might be able to take a few videos this year, maybe. We'll see. Sometimes I get distracted. Our neighborhood is very active for trick-or-treating, and a lot of adults walk around, and it's very social, and it's a lot of fun. We have a great trick-or-treating neighborhood. Okay. Now, see, if you don't have a lot of space, you can kind of pull it to the side. See how I did on the green one there? You can kind of have it come from the side slightly before it goes towards the center. It will give you a little bit more space to work with. Okay. Okay. See, so some of these lines to me look a little too thick. So this is why I want to get these on here first, is because once the lines are on, we are going to have the ability to come back and thin them out using the extra fine white paint pen. So we're actually going to come back and kind of clean up that lining a little bit, which is really nice. Um, yes, it is going to be exciting. I'm very excited to listen to the chatter and be able to kind of hear the thought process. I have had some parents tell me like, "Oh, we stood at your table for like 10 minutes while they were deciding which rock they wanted." Um, Yes, Karen, exactly like that. So I am excited to actually see it because I'm friends with a lot of the adults in the neighborhood, you know, and they tell me about like their kids and stuff like that and how, oh my gosh, because we do the tree in the front yard too, and they're like, oh, we check the magic tree like every couple days, like they're out there all the time checking the tree. Now I don't have the tree going right now because of Halloween coming. I like to do it during the summer months. It just makes it easier for me to get my rocks out. So I'm just touching up a couple of these. They just don't look super dark. I might do that again later. Anyways, let's finish our bats. Let's get 5 more done here real fast. So for our bats, we're just gonna double dot our eyes. Now, if your pupil got away from you like this one, it looks like a little weird on the left-hand eye, you can come in here with your extra fine tip and clean that up. Just like that. See how quick? Okay. And then now we're going to double dot the eyes. Now I'm going to actually have these touching the white a little bit. So I'm going to dot, dot. Like, I think I'm only going to do a singular one, but I'm going to have it go over the edge like that. So it's a slightly different highlight technique. I just like to share different things that you guys can do. I used to single dot, I've done double dots. Now this is like you're just taking that highlight, so it's actually on the pupil on the white as well. So you're just gonna kind of line up right on the edge. I do try to hit it at the same angle, even though the eyes are different sizes, because the light should be coming from the same source. I know, we were discussing earlier about still doing lives. I'm gonna figure something out. The main thing is I want, if it is better to be able to schedule them. Like before, when I used to do lives, I would kind of just hop on when I had an idea, and having a specific time, definitely. So I was fixing the white on that one and I went over, so I'm going to put the highlight on that side on these. Having the specific time that I'm always trying to get on was very helpful for me to stay on schedule, knowing like, hey, all right, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow I need to make sure I know what I'm painting and all that stuff. So I promise to keep you guys posted on that. So make sure you are following. I mean, I'll post here on YouTube too. I'm just the most consistent on Facebook, as far as you'll know first on Facebook on that broadcast when or if or whatever's going on. That's always going to be your fastest way to find out. All right, we got 5 more done. Done, 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 done. Let's finish these guys up since we're crushing through these. Let's see. So we've got our dots here. We definitely need to do our lining. So we'll do our letters. Get a second coat on those. And we do have some of these dots over here that we added. So I'm going to do the matching the letter below it with these dots. Okay. So now orange. And then green. Good night, Tammy. I know, right? The time changes. I think if I do lives moving forward, I might have to do them a little bit earlier. I was able to do this just because schedule-wise it was going to work this time of year because my daughter is in cheer practice. And so she's not coming home right now, like, but normally she would be home from school by now, and I really just don't like being live. My son's home, but he, you know, he knows I'm live and he kind of stay out, but I don't like being on when they get home, if that makes sense. I like to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and open-armed. No, I'm kidding. Not quite like that, but when they're home, sometimes there's things that need to be done, places that need to be taken. Purple up here, and then this one is done. But also it won't be as long of lives if I do them. So, you know, we might be able to get away with like a 1:30 for an hour or something like that. Have a little bit of time in case it spills over. All right, that one is done. Let's see here. So I don't see a lot of dots on this one that need to be filled in. And I'll do green over there. All right. Is that it on this one? Oh no, that purple spot there needs a little love. And did I do the yellow on this already again? You guys, I'm losing it. I'm starting to lose my mind. I don't know if I did the orange on there. The orange looks okay, so I must have done it. All right, that yellow still needs more. All right, now, again, with these dangles, once you get your colors all filled in, or even as you're filling them, you noticed I did it even as I was filling them. If you see a spot like, hey, I really want a dot there, like on the other vertical one, I wanted the dots in between the letters, and now that I'm looking at this, it needs it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and add my little circles so that they can have time to, I just want white dots in between those. I think it's gonna look super cute. All right. So we've only got our eyeballs left and our last dangle. Whew. Timing wise here, we're a little over, but that's okay. My hand's hanging in there. All right, so if you do want it thin, so like occasionally one might get away from you. Like this guy looks a little thick there. So you could just come back in with your white and just go right into it. And if it leaves it a little bit pink, that's okay, because a lot of times around the veining of the eyes, it might be a little pink anyways. So if a little bit of that shows through, don't worry about doing a second coat on the white, just leave it. But you can come in and you can really thin things out, especially towards the tips, because you know how it usually thins out the closer it gets to the eye. So possibly you consider it an extra step, not necessarily something you have to do, but it's something you can do if you want to. So I'm not going to do all of them, just any of them that I think just seem a little bit clunky. Okay. And I did go over onto the black a few places, so the black outline will be touched up at the very end as well. But then the final step on these, if you're up for the challenge of it, is going to be a little bit of shading. So I do have a little brush here and a little bit of water. You can leave them like this. I don't want you to feel like you have to do this step. These are fine just like this. I feel like the black is not super black on all of these. You can leave them like this if you want to. This is just a technique you can do if you want to make them look a little bit more stacked. You can add a small shadow, and that will help them get that stacked appearance. So in order to do that, you just need a paintbrush with a little bit of water. And then I've got my, obviously, water-based paint. Yes?
You're at
5 today. So.
I'm leaving now.
Yes, thank you. So we are going to place like literally just the smallest amount of water on our brush, like literally. Okay, so if you can see this, put my finger there. I'm just the itty bitty tips. I'm not even putting my whole brush in there, and then I'm wiping most of it back off. You can always go back and get more water. And oh, I just threw my pen at myself. And we're just going to tap a couple dots, and then we're going to take our brush. Now this one's on top, so this is the shadow is gonna go off to the side here. And we're just gonna very lightly bring that shadow onto our rock. And we can even use that same black over here, just the littlest bit. Just like that. And if you need more water, I'm talking the tiniest, don't put your metal into the water, because then water will get up there, and wipe most of it back off. And it's just the littlest shadow, but to me, I think that's fun, and I think it kind of just gives it a little something extra. Once your rock's dry, you can go back around. Like I got red onto my black. You do not want that there. So you can come back and cover those up. Okay. And then it's done. Okay, just the lightest shadow. We're not going overboard on these today. We've got a little bit of an indent here. All right, so look at your stack, and that's how you're going to figure out your shadows as well. So you're going to have a little shadow going here. So we're just a couple dots. Like you really don't need very much paint. Once you get it moving, you can move it back and forth. Now, if you do spill over, like I just did there, just leave it. Don't mess with it for the moment. We'll come back and make that white, and that will help that shadow pop too. See, so this shadow is coming from this side. And from this side, and then on this one, it will just be on top. And if it washes out too much, just come back and add just a little bit more of that black. Because it doesn't take much to create the shadow. Let it dry before you get your lining on there, and then we'll touch up that white as well. So I'm going to leave that one down here. This one was done. These ones are not. So here. That's an amazing idea. I love that, Martine. You could definitely put eyeballs as your olives in a martini, because they do kind of look like olives, I have to admit, now that you said that. Absolutely. Very fun. All right, so now This is this is very important to make this shadow work. You cannot have shadow on the top. So get in there with your white and get rid of any shadow that gets onto your top eyeball. You cannot have it, because that will push that down. Okay. See that? All right, so that one's done. All right, this one, just needed to clean up my black lines a couple places. Okay, and I think we're gonna call that one done. All right, so this one, the green is under both, and the blue is under the purple. So we're gonna do the purple one here first. Get a little bit of water here. Okay, and then we're gonna go just on this side. And since this is in kind of a corner under both, I'm actually gonna dab just a little bit more darkness in there because I feel like that should be darker. Okay. I messed up on the outline of this one pretty bad. I'm gonna go back over that. You can't see that white on the outside edge. I did it over here too. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry so I can do white on top. I do need to do this black line on top of the red here. Okay, so we'll let that dry. All right, so this one is the same. We got like a double one going on here. I'm gonna do the black lines on my red while I'm looking at those. So both are under the blue, the purple's under both. So we're gonna do the blue first. Oops, went over the line. This isn't the best brush for this one. It's a little too loose. Absolutely. You can do whatever you want. You can add an orange dot, like a Black Widow dot. That's actually, I actually really like that idea. We can do that. I'm actually going to do that. I like that because it does look a little bland there. Again, I'm going to dot, dot, dot here in this section here in the corner, just because it's both layers there, and I feel like it would be pretty dark there. There we go. Okay. All right, so they are all shadowed. So we do have, let's do that. Where's their spider one? Over here? Like a Black Widow has like a red, is it like a diamond? Is it a diamond shape? I don't think I could get much more than like a diamond on here. There we go. All right. I'm going to let these have a second. Let's finish our final dangle here. I can't even remember what we were waiting on. Oh, the dots in between the letters. We're close, guys. And then next week we are going to seal. I will set it up like kind of more like the Q&A style. I'll be able to like watch it. So I think I'm going to do that one on Facebook. And then that way also I can kind of talk to everybody else on Facebook about like what they're thinking as far as lives, if they would be wanting to do them more often, whatever, kind of just Q&A, find out some information, seal some rocks. So I will be using my brush on sealer for those Duraclear. So by the time I finish getting through the entire batch, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do lap 2. I will paint my 101st rock while we're on that live. I'm just going to save my final rock for that live. And then we'll go from there, moving forward, deciding what we're going to do for content with the lives, if we're going to keep them up, if we're going to try to do like a once a month thing, all that jazz. So how did we do today? How many do you have done? How many did we finish up? So the eyeballs still need their a highlight, you know, because I can't have an eyeball without a highlight. I'm really running low on time. So the highlight you can do kind of like on the pupil and on the color itself. I am going to double dot these ones, I think. So we're just going to go 1, 2. 1, 2. That one I'm only going to do 1 because it's small and it's underneath. All right. That one's done. Okay. Oh, did I just do that? Oh boy. I did. Oh no. I literally just sandwiched them together. Well, so much for being done. So dab it up. I'm going to dab that quickly. I don't have a Q-tip. Q-tip next to me. Anywhere. I'm just going to take my wet brush. Try to get this off. The rest of it I can just repaint. There we go. Well, fiddlesticks. That was the closest that you were going to hear me say something naughty. That was close. 13. Now I just totally lost everything that was in my thought process right there because I did that. 13, what? What did I ask? I asked a question, I'm sure. Oh, you did 13 rocks. Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good. So I was going to be done with all of them live, but now officially I'm not, just because you saw what they were going to look like. I'm going to have to touch these up just a smidge, then redot the eyes. Oh, yeah. I can't believe I did that, you guys. It could have been worse. Could have been worse. Anybody else? How many did you guys finish up today? I love seeing them. I can't wait to see them. It usually takes so long for these videos to upload onto YouTube. And so I wait to share it till the replay isn't super grainy and crummy looking. So look for the post tomorrow morning. And that's when I will pull it out so that I can edit the eyeballs for Facebook. But I might share a picture of like me adding these ones to my finished rocks. But I'm going to highlight those eyeballs later because I'm done. I will clean this one up too. That's the one I dropped. These two got dropped together. So I'm going to leave them to the left so I remember. Slow down. All right, guys. There's still 15 of you guys here. A lot of you guys hung out with me today. I know not everybody can chat while they're painting, but I really appreciate everybody that's been hanging in with this series of doing all of these Halloween rocks with me. I will have lots of finished pictures with all the rocks together that I will share. Go get them all in here. I'm not there. There we go. So again, thank you so much, everybody that's been following along. So next week we will seal them live. So that one won't be a tutorial, and it will be on Facebook. So if you're not following us on Facebook, go find us on Facebook, so that you can join in with that one, and you can help make the decision of what we're going to be doing next. Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. So I have put some, so now I have more. Prepped some, so I think that's probably what you meant there. All right, guys, you have a wonderful week. We will be back soon. I can never get to my exit button without messing up too much. Bye-bye, everybody.